It's even worse here.
Really?
Yeah, it's awful.
You'd think that the playground would actually bring out good feelings.
Well, it's better than nothing. Yeah, that's yeah. Well, it's the spirit is overwhelming. It almost made me feel nausea. Like it just, yeah, that's how strong it is. In some ways, the playground is almost as if it's ignoring how terrible it is under the ground. You know, so it's a beautiful thing in one sense to try and make it into a light experience, but I mean, it's as if your grandfather's grave, you know, they put a swing set on it or something, you know. Mm-hmm. It's just, I mean, it's a good attempt, and it's certainly a beautiful place, and the community really needs it, and they use it a lot, and that's a great thing, but it doesn't override it, you know.
Did you want to actually go up into the park area there?
Sure. Right here, I got quite a special, it was like just sadness, just something just pulled the joy right out of me here. Their spirits are just pulling on me, just pulling. It'd be like a drowning person trying to get a hold of something, even a twig to keep them afloat, you know.
Do you feel that, are they happy about the park and the children
yes.
here, or do they not like that?
They get glimpses of it. It's not like they're as aware of it as, say, another spirit might be. Say, somebody who had walked through here and had a heart attack and died, they would have the clarity, likely, to say, oh my goodness, there's children playing where I died, and that's beautiful. They get glimpses of it, almost like an abstract painting. So they're seeing that, and that just sort of adds to their confusion. It gives them a moment of beauty, but it doesn't last, you know. It just adds to the confusion. It was like, here's some more, throw them in because we're afraid of disease, that kind of thing. Get them in the ground as fast as you can. And I guess it would depend on the time of year. If there was a lot of heat and, things like that, it could really pose a problem. But I get the feeling like the bodies are just thrown in because they're all just lying there intermixed almost, you know.
So they're entangled.
And yes, and it's almost like it was a desperation thing to do it like this because there were so many of them that they just couldn't, it's like after a big disaster, sometimes they just can't be careful with each one. They've got to throw them in a pit and cover them up quick.
Do you think the bodies are within the park, or do you think they stretch beyond?
I mean, it did radiate out, but it was more, this was the heart of it. I wouldn't be surprised if other bodies had been found while they've been trying to build houses and so on here. But they weren't as concentrated as they are here. There were a lot of people shoveling, and they didn't have much gear to work with, so they weren't that deep.
So you feel that they're close to the surface?
Oh, yeah. I could just feel it right up through my legs. It was like they had been disturbed since they had been buried the first time. And somebody had tried to make some order out of it, and it was such a mess that somebody just said, look, this is crazy, you know. Well, where are we going to put all these people, you know? We'll dig a big pit. So you have all the unemployed in the area coming around to work on the pit. And what a nasty job. And they had to hurry, because everybody would have gotten some disease or another. And I think for a while people were on wells, if they were close, I got the feeling there weren't houses that were close at the time, but it would have gone into the well water, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a bad thought.
Yes, it is. But you wouldn't originally have had to have dug down any farther than 2 feet, and you would have gotten through. It was just enough just to cover them and keep disease away.
Do you think the spirits are happy about the children playing in the park?
The state of unrest, I'm surprised that, that the vibes are good enough for children to play happily, and all these nice houses surrounding it and everything. It's a beautiful park, but life goes on, I guess, eh? This is about as close as they'd get to a headstone.
You healing headstones?
Yeah. It's like these rocks were covered at some point, perhaps when they were putting paths in or something, or the play equipment, and they came across these rocks. It's like they were down there suffering with the rest of them, you know. They get stuck in the mode of the goriness of the situation and the fear of the situation and the shock of passing over and never quite believing that there was a life after death. So they're confused and depressed and stuck. Each person is like an isolated occurrence, and it's up to them to arrive at freedom themselves. Whenever somebody stirs up your bones, somewhere within you, you feel it. So if somebody disturbs your remains, you're aware of it.
Do you think the restoration of the park makes a difference?
There's been every effort made to make this as pleasant as possible, and most people that would come here, if they felt something, they'd think it was in their own mind, you know, which is sad in its own. That's what I mean, it reverberates on and on and on. It's like a magnet. It's like a great big sore, and it's going to take a lot of positive energy to heal it. And that's why maybe in time, but there's some places on earth that just don't ever heal.
After Karen had enlightened us about the spirits, I decided it was time to disclose some of the facts about the park.
There's 10,000 people underneath of us, approximately. And there's between some caskets they found with 11 bodies in them. And
God!
And some they'd find empty. And those empty ones, they figured that grave robbers came to steal the bodies for medical.
Yes, that makes sense.
So there was a lot of that, but when Mr. Adstead actually went digging and stuff, he found some of the graves were actually waterlogged and partially decomposed because of the type of soil that we have.
You're saying there were 10,000?
There's 10,000 underneath of us,
So
approximately.
that was a heck of a burial ground.
Yeah, it was called Garrison Burial Ground. They've been arguing about the actual size of the park for a long time.
Before we knew it, our long, cold investigation of McBurney Park was over. We packed our gear and let the spirits be, leaving Skeleton Park to rest again. Footage revealed anomalies that some believed to be orbs, yet others would consider it dust, bugs, or lens flare.
You decide.